All right, gonna make another video for function inverses. This will be my fourth time going over this, so please watch these videos, y'all, or show up to the meetings. For function inverses, this is what your objective is, what your goal is. You're trying to find the inverse function by following two really simple steps. You swap x and y, and then you solve for y. This goes back to Algebra 1, where you had literal equations and you had to solve for a specific variable. This is not brand new, okay? It's just different terminology. All right, your notation, f of x, that's your original function, whatever you're given. F inverse of x is the one that has the little -1 exponent on it, but you don't read it as f to the -1. That's not what it is. It is just read as the inverse function of f, okay? So if you see the little -1, that means we're talking about the inverse. If there's no -1, it's the original function, okay? So here's an example. This is one of the ones that's in the assignment, and it's one of the ones I went over in the Google Meet yesterday. Find the inverse of f of n, which is equal to -4 over n plus 2. Also, there's a little note down there. F of n is equal to y. We don't see a y in here, but yet in our steps, we have to swap x and y, right? We don't see a y, but remember, f of n or f of x or f of, I don't know, z, it doesn't matter what letter is there. The f of is always your y value. And then what's in the parentheses, like in this example is an n, well, that's going to be your x, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start. Step 1. Sorry, it's not the best, but this is the only way I can figure it out. So step 1, swap my x and y. In this case, I'm swapping f of n and n. All right, so my original is going to look like this. Y equals -4 over n plus 2. Now what I'm swapping is the y and the n. So it's going to be n equals -4 over y plus 2. That's step 1. Step 2. Now that they're swapped, I'm going to solve for y. What that means is get in the form of y equals. Okay, I want to get the y by itself. So right now I have right now I have n equals -4 over y plus 2. I want to get that swapped around. So I've got n equals -4 over y plus 2. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm trying to, again, remember, I want to get this dude by itself. So the first thing I can do is subtract 2. So I'm already using inverse operations. Plus 2 and minus 2 are inverses of each other. That's going to make them cancel right here. So now what I'm going to end up with is n minus 2 equals -4 over y. Okay? Again, I'm still trying to get the y by itself. When we have fractions, that seems to make everybody kind of freak out a little bit. But don't freak out. Whatever's on the bottom, I can multiply the entire equation by the denominator, and it'll make it not a fraction anymore. So in this case, my denominator is y. I'm going to multiply the entire equation by y. That means this side gets multiplied by y, and this side gets multiplied by y. Okay? Over here, I'm going to bring down exactly what you see. It'll be y times n minus 2. Over here, what happens with a y when I multiply by y and divide by y? Well, that's inverses again, multiplication and division. They're going to cancel out. So all that's left over here is -4. Okay? And then my very last step to get y alone is this is y times n minus 2. Well, again, the inverse of n minus 2, or multiplying by n minus 2, would be divide by n minus 2. So if divide this side by n minus 2 is the same as dividing this side by n minus 2. Okay? So if I do that, again over here, they're going to cancel out. All that I've got left to bring down is y. And on this side, I'm going to leave it just like that. I still need these two grouped together. So I'm going to have -4 over n minus 2. Now in Schoology, you would need to type it like this: -4, divide, parenthesis, n minus 2. This is one that I think might be coded wrong in Schoology, so if this one's on your assignment, I will go back and give you credit if this is what you typed in. Okay? If that's not what you typed in, then it's not the correct answer. If this is what you typed in and Schoology counted it wrong, I'm going back through and counting them correct. Okay? All right, another example. You are given f of x is equal to 2 over 7 times x minus 10 over 7. Find the inverse. Okay, again, step 1. Swap x and y. So our original is y equals 2 over 7x minus 10 over 7. All I'm going to do is swap those around. So it will be x equals 2 over 7 times y. Okay? So first step, swap x and y. Second step, solve for y. Okay? I'm going to start with my addition or subtraction. I see that I've got minus 10 over 7 down here. I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to say plus 10 over 7. I got to do that to both sides of the equation. Because on this side, they cancel out nice and easy. And then over here on the left, we'll end up with x plus 10 over 7 equals 2 over 7 times y. Okay, now with fractions, remember this is the same as I'm multiplying right here, so we would want to say, okay, if I divide by 2 over 7 to both sides, then that's going to get rid of this guy. But when you've got fractions, it's easier to, let me make a note of this, multiply by the reciprocal. That is a word that should be familiar to you guys. Reciprocal means you take that fraction and you flip it over, okay? So if I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, then instead of dividing by 2 over 7, what I'm really going to do is multiply by 7 over 2. If I do that on that side, I also have to do that on this side, okay? Now over here, why that works out so great is because I'm multiplying by 7, then dividing by 7, those cancel. Multiplying by 2, then dividing by 2, those cancel. So all that's left is my y, and that's what I want. Remember, we're trying to get y by itself. Now on this side, you would just straight up distribute. So I've got 7 over 2 times x, so it'll be 7 over 2 times x. And then again here, I'm multiplying by 7, then dividing by 7. So what happens with those 7s? They cancel, and we just end up with plus 10 over 2. Now, you guys should hopefully see where you can simplify right here. 10 over 2 would be the same as just 5. And then we would keep this one as 7 over 2x. All right? So what we just found is our inverse function of x is equal to 7 over 2x plus 5. Now, in Schoology, you would have to type it like this, 7x, because the x needs to go in the numerator, 7x slash 2 plus 5. No spaces and no parentheses, okay? You don't need parentheses if there's just one term in the top. If the numerator had something like 7x plus 3 or something like that, then you would have to have parentheses around it. There are no parentheses needed if it's just 7x. That's just one term being held together with multiplication. Okay? I'm going to upload this to YouTube and then share it to the page as well so that you guys can go through this at your leisure. So that's 2 more examples. I added a 6th attempt yesterday, so y'all should all have 6 tries on this assignment. Okay?